If you're the type of person who spends a lot of time at a desk, on the road, or just dealing with everyday aches, you're probably thinking about a massage chair that actually lives up to its promises, not one that just sounds good on a spec sheet. You want something that's reliable, easy to live with day after day, and that feels like a smart investment rather than a flashy gadget. I get that hesitation. How many times have we bought a high-tech piece of furniture only to discover it's louder than a blender, or the controls are a maze, or the footrest never quite reaches where you need it? That risk makes the decision feel a lot heavier than picking a new TV remote. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In the next few minutes, I'll walk through what the EASPRL full-body zero-gravity chair actually does in real life, who will love it, and who might want to keep scrolling. I'll be honest about the strengths that matter when you sit in it for an hour after work, and the practical drawbacks that can show up after a few weeks of use. First off, the biggest question with any full-body massage chair is whether it fits your body comfortably. This model advertises a 53.15-inch S-track, which basically means the massage rollers travel a longer path along your spine compared to the average 48-inch tracks you see on budget units. In my own testing, or rather, after spending a few evenings in the chair, I noticed that the extra length really matters if you're taller than 5 feet 10 inches. The rollers reach down past the lower lumbar area, so you actually feel a consistent, therapist-inspired kneading down to the sacrum without the gap you sometimes get where the rollers stop too early. For someone who's built a bit more height, that extra coverage feels like a genuine upgrade rather than a gimmick. But coverage isn't the only factor. The chair's intensity settings are labeled as 4D, which translates to the ability to adjust speed, depth, and even the angle of the rollers. In practice, the most useful part of this is the auto-extend footrest. When you hit the recline button, the leg platform glides forward and the foot massage rollers automatically engage your calves and ankles. For anyone who suffers from tight calves after a run or sits on a bike for hours, that motion feels like a dedicated stretch session. The foot and ankle massage is fairly gentle at first, but you can crank up the pressure to a firm level that mimics a deep tissue therapist's hand. I found it particularly helpful after a long drive. Just a 15-minute session was enough to dissolve the stiffness in my hamstrings without needing to stand up and stretch. Noise is another everyday concern. A lot of chairs have motor whirs that can be distracting, especially if you plan to use the sleep mode while watching TV or falling asleep. The eSpurl says it runs under 60 dB, and that's about as quiet as a dishwasher in a closed kitchen. In a real bedroom, you hardly hear the mechanical parts unless you sit very close to the motor housing. This low-noise operation is a practical win if you want to keep the chair in a shared living space or use it late at night without bothering a partner. Control simplicity is where some chairs stumble. This model offers 3 ways to command it: a built-in panel, a handheld remote, and a smartphone app. For most users, the built-in panel is the quickest route, just a few buttons for auto, zero gravity, and stretch. The app does look slick, letting you set custom sequences, but I found it unnecessary for everyday use. I ended up using the panel about 95% of the time. If you're tech-savvy and love tweaking parameters, the app is a nice bonus. If you're not, you won't feel forced to learn a new interface. Now, who should actually buy this chair? If you're a tall individual who regularly does light to moderate workouts, suffers from chronic lower back tension, and values a home spa experience that can replace a couple of professional sessions per month, this chair checks those boxes. It also works well for families where different members might want varying intensity levels. The 3 control options let each person find a comfortable setting without reprogramming the whole unit. The safety lock is another thoughtful touch. It prevents the footrest from extending unexpectedly, which is reassuring if you have small kids who might climb onto the chair out of curiosity. On the flip side, there are clear scenarios to skip this model. If you're on a tight budget, the price point sits in the high-end tier, and you might find comparable budget chairs that give you basic Shiatsu without the extra leg extension. Also, if you live in a very small apartment and the footprint of a full-size recliner is a concern, you'll need to measure a minimum of roughly 7 feet by 3 feet to accommodate the chair and its moving parts. The auto-extend footrest does require a bit of clearance behind the unit, so cramped rooms could make the mechanism hit.